Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new Great Dark Beyond card review. That's a mouthful. And we got a bunch of neutral cards revealed. Are they all just arena cards? We'll have to find out. There's usually one diamond in the rough or a couple. You never know. So we're going to review those cards. And if you want to win these cards, we're giving away 2 standard bundles, 2 mega bundles out of my pocket. To enter that giveaway, like and comment in the video, link down description below, the one with that thumbnail over there. Be subscribed to the channel. For every 1,000 subs we get until all the cards are revealed, I will add another mega bundle. So hit that sub button, make me go baroque. So let's start off with the first card here, the Light Fused Mana Saber, a 6 mana 6/6 beast, so that's all right. Although Demon Hunter can get like 2 wolves with Outcast, and that's almost never seen play. This has Rush as well, and Spell Burst, gain Divine Shield. I wonder if this didn't have Spell Burst, would you put this in your deck? I feel like no, but yes, if you backstab or prep or any other spell, whatever, you get that Divine Shield, can hit in, and you keep your health and all that. So it's not bad in Arena, probably. It's not too bad, but what ladder deck am I ever going to play this in? You can bring it back, I guess, with like the Legendary Hunter spell or whatever, but overall, just a really fair minion in 2024 Hearthstone, which has never been more unfair. And also just brush minions in general don't matter as much as they did before, because the board typically doesn't matter nearly as much these days. And yeah, I don't see it. You really need to get that Spellburst value, I guess, to make this card feel worth it. But I feel like, again, take Spellburst away from this card, just give it Divine Shield. I still feel like you don't play this in your deck, which is kind of telling. So I'm going to give it a 1 in Standard and Wild, but you'll absolutely feel good about picking an Arena, because basically any Rush minion in Arena is worth drafting. But of course you could like evolve and, you know, transform minions. You'll see this minion over time anyways. Next we have one of the most absurd instances of power creep I have ever seen, the Splitting Space Rock, an 8 mana 8/8 minion elemental. It has Death Rattle, summon 2 4/4 splitting boulders. Those splitting boulders will then summon 2 2/2 splitting stones. Those splitting stones will then summon 2 1/1s, which then are just 1/1. So it is a lot of stats. These are all elementals. It was like Splittering Festrook or something like that, which is like, I think the same mana cost or similar, half the stats, half the things summoned, and obviously that card was never any good ever. So you're gonna power creep on a battled card, but my God, it is so much better. So many more stats, so many more bodies. It's kind of crazy, and it's still probably not a card you ever want to play in your deck. It's 8 mana, do nothing. It is purely just stats and just stats. No matter how sticky it feels like, you take a look at Dr. Stitch and so that's a pretty crazy card. Has really not had an impact in the game because minions are punished so much, and well, I'd rather probably launch a Starship or something, or this gets poofed by Arena or stolen by Reska or yoinked by Yogg. Like, it's just so many punishes and stuff, but you can get it. Obviously, it's a good cheese hit or an Ignis weapon hit and stuff like that. It is gonna feel pretty good when you hit things like that, but I don't see it as a card I'm hard running, despite the absolute crazy power creep. You know, a Zeddy power creep tweet is coming with this. Give it a 2 out of 5 in Standard, a 1 out of 5 in Wild. But yeah, it's pretty crazy how much you can power creep on old cards, and it probably still won't matter like at all. Next, we have a new pirate. Yes, more pirates. The Space Pirate, 1 mana 2/1. Death Rattle, your next weapon costs 1 less. This used to be a warrior card that was a 1 mana 2/2 at one time, but it was a battle cry, so that's much better. Unless you have Death Rattle synergies and all that, but yeah, you can play this discounted weapon. That's all right. It's not amazing. Maybe a pirate rogue could play it, but it's like weapon rogue probably doesn't want it because they just want to draw like 1 minion with their tutor card, right? It's a pirate, could give you a coin. But yeah, I don't see it, and you could play this in Wild, have it die, and your Kingsbane is 0. That's neat, and yeah, I don't see it as a big deal. Any class could play this though, right? Maybe you want to discount your rye cleaver and get that cheese sandwich going. Why do I keep calling it cheese? It's a sandwich. The cheese is Gorgonzormu. Get your delicacies straight. So yeah, I don't think it's a ladder card, a meta card. I'll give it a 2 out of 5 in both standard and wild. More chance of it working in wild as well because of all the pirates, but still probably not quite worth it. But hey, that's again, I love the pirate, the space pirate art. That's really, really cool. We have the what is that? Perplexed? The Perplexing Anomaly, a 3 mana 2/5, not quite a ranger. It has rush, taunting, stealth. It's like question mark. I'm assuming it has all of that. It's just kind of perplexing because why do you want rush and stealth, right? You attack, you lose the stealth. That doesn't make a ton of sense, but it's not supposed to. It's perplexing. The flavor's on point. It's probably an okay arena card. Not great because to attack is not a great threshold. 3 would be obviously much better than, but then we're playing a 3 mana 3/5 with rush and taunt and Senjin's really crying. I'll give it a 2 out of 5 in standard wild, but again, the art great, the flavor is great. And I love that there's a question mark on it. It's just so perplexed. We also have the Moonstone Mauler, a brand new elemental, a 2 mana 2/2 battle cry. You shuffle 3 asteroids into your deck that deal 2 damage to a random enemy when drawn. So that's pretty cool. You get some asteroids and they can smack him in the face or something or hit a minion and all that. That could be pretty nice. It's just another elemental maybe for your elemental deck. So you can shutter block this like you're Incendious and shuffle in a bunch of stuff. But yeah, random 2 mana 2 damage or whatever, like, is that great? It's just okay. It's not gonna be reliable enough that I think you want to play this, but in arena, probably a decent card to play on too. You high roll, draw a couple of those early, that could be pretty impactful. But I feel like, again, on a ladder perspective, only the strict elemental decks I think would really want this. You can, again, tutor out the asteroid with that Sharp-Eyed Seeker card or whatever it's called, and that's something. But again, are you building your constructed deck around that? Probably not. So yeah, I'll give this a 2 out of 5 in standard, a 2 out of 5 in wild. Probably not happening. We have the Troubled Mechanic, a 2 mana 2/1 Divine Shield minion that has Spell Burst of draw a Draenei, which that's pretty good if you can actively do that. This could be a tutor for the Draenei you're building around. Maybe you're looking for Velen, and Velen, I guess, wouldn't really repeat any of this because it's just battle cries and death rattles, right? So maybe not there, but overall, 2 mana 2/1, possibly draw a card. It's got Divine Shield, so maybe you can tempo it without playing that spell, and you might have it live because it's got that sticky body to it. It's got a shot. This is one of the better cards in this batch because it draws a card, it's a decent little body, and it can tutor something specifically. I feel like a deck out there, depending on what Draenei's we see, could absolutely run this if they're looking for something specific. We know how powerful that effect can be. I'll give it a 3 out of 5 in standard. This one might actually have a shot in wild. Probably not as much. We'll give it a 2. But hey, I didn't rate all these cards as a 1 or a 2, so there we go. We have the Hologram Operator, a 2 mana 3/2 Draenei battle cry. Get 3 random temporary Draenei. So temporary updated keyword, meaning basically you got this turn to play it, or it's going bye-bye, right? It'll get discarded and all of that. So you know, you could play this a bit later in the game and see what you hit. Maybe hit a crazy legendary that you could play, like a Velen, and take advantage of that. And then that Velen can proc that battle cry, and maybe you can play those later on. That could be pretty good too. So there's that possibility. But typically, cards, you know, that generate cards, you want to be consistent enough and reliable enough that you can get that value. And with a card like this, I'm not entirely sure. Really solid arena pick for your late game. You play it on like 10 mana, just vomit the board or whatever. That could be really good, but I feel like constructed wise, probably a bit too slow and inconsistent. So again, we'll give it a 2 in standard, a 1 in wild, where the Draenei pool, I assure, is going to be pretty large when we see when all the old cards are updated. That, you know, they're going to update a lot of the older cards to be Draenei. So that'll be factored into that, and a lot of them will probably be pretty bad. We have the Stranded Space Man, a 2 mana 2/3 Draenei with battle cry. The next Draenei you play gains +2 health and Rush. So you could play this to set up Bellin with that Death Rattle to trade it and proc and go off right away. That could be pretty good. And whatever, there seems to be a lot of these synergistic things where you play a Draenei and then the next one you play gets something, and this is something that could absolutely be beneficial. Rush is proactive, very good, you know, in the game typically, and getting an extra health boost is nice. It's premium statted, it's got a tribe. It's crazy that I'm never that gung-ho over premium statted tribal minions with an upside. It's neutral. That's the state of the game we're at. I'll give it a 3 though. I feel like with all these Draenei decks, and there's a lot of like board-based stuff going on with them, that a card like this might slot into one of those decks somewhere. So I'm more optimistic about this card than a lot of the other ones. So we'll give it a 3. And in Wild, again, give it a 2. That format's disgusting. Board is not going to matter nearly as much. We have the Escape Pod, a 3 mana 2/1 minion with Rush, Death Rattle, give adjacent minions +1/+1 in Rush. This is like a weird take on Broom. Animated Broomstick, by the way. What a busted card. They have not found a way to power creep on that one at all. And this is not too bad, but it's got to die to get its effect, which, you know, 1 health probably could do that as long as there's like a minion with attack on board you can hit. It'll go off, and then you can set up whatever to get a bit of a buff and a bit of a rush. That's not too bad, but feels very, very arena to me. Not even a tribe on this one. What are we doing? We'll give it a 2 out of 5 in standard, a 1 in wild. You can play this in like Shutterwalk, and like maybe it actually it's a Death Rattle. Why am I saying in Shutterwalk? It's Death Rattle. Never mind. I was gonna say you can like give your copies rush, but it's not Battlecry. So what am I talking about? And we have the Brain Gill as the last card here, a new Murloc. I love the alien artwork, the big brain there. 2 mana 2/1 Murloc, Battle Cry. Give all friendly Murlocs Death Rattle, draw a card. This could be really good, obviously, in Murloc decks or Amalgam decks. They're all old tribes. That could be quite nice, and it just draws a card, not a Murloc, nothing specific like that. But yeah, are there really any Murloc flooding decks right now? No, but they've existed. We might see something maybe later this reveal season that makes it work, or you looked at some early spoilers somehow and you might know more than me. Actually don't know the cards past like tomorrow. So yeah, I don't know. Like, this card can be powerful, but it really depends if there's that Murloc deck out there to make it work. And right now, no. So I'll give it I can't give it a 3 because it literally just doesn't exist right now. But if it does exist, we can reevaluate and give this like a 3 out of 5 because, you know, card draw can be really good. And Murloc decks typically have never had the greatest of card draw. So in Wild, absolutely, this could be cool if, you know, Murloc decks were better there. Like, there's so many amazing Murlocs in Wild, but they need the board to matter a lot more, and they don't cheat a ton of mana, and it's just not aggressive enough. Regardless, 2 out of 5 in Standard and Wild. Probably doesn't make the cut quite yet, but it's certainly a card that could work in the future. Or if there's just a bunch of good Murlocs we'll see later on, then absolutely I would bump it to like a 3 or a 4 out of 5. So there you go. Ton of cards today. That's it for today. Stay tuned for tomorrow, where we'll have even more cards to review. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.